Hey guys, it's me, Geogen, and welcome back to World of Warships. Today, we're going to be looking at the Tier 4 Japanese cruiser, the Kuma. The Kuma, like many cruisers, is fast, lightly armoured, has lower caliber weapons of 140mm in this case, which fire quite quickly. Its added benefit is it has a set of torpedoes, 8 in all, 4 mounted on each side. It has 7 batteries, singly mounted, 4 in the front, located 2 right at the front, and 1 on each side of the main tower, and then 3 at the back, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to be talking about its positive nature in battle, as well as its negatives, which you have to look out for. We'll start with the positives. The positives are that the 140 main batteries are very good. They fire very quickly, have under 6-second reload time, and are capable of doing around 3,000 damage maximum with its armor-piercing rounds, and around, I believe, 1,500 with its, around 1,400 with its HE rounds, unless you penetrate it and do a lot of damage. It's also quite fast, quite maneuverable. It goes at about 36 knots, and it turns reasonably quickly. It has a turning circle radius, apparently, of 820 meters. I haven't actually had a need to turn in a full circle, but that's reasonably good. Concealment, again, it's reasonable for a cruiser. Cruisers aren't big, but they're not small like destroyers. So you're not going to be as stealthy as a destroyer, but you're not going to be detected as quickly as a battleship. And I believe that is a roundup of most of the positives. I may have forgotten a couple. Now to move on to the negatives. The Kuma only has 24,200 hit points, which is quite low, considering you'll be fighting ships of Tier 6, which have up to 57,000 hit points, which I'm referring to the Fuso battleship here. And you only have up to 65mm of armor plate, which means shells that hit you, as well as torpedoes, are going to penetrate and do a lot of damage. Meaning, if you're hitting this repeatedly, it's likely you're going to sink quite quickly. I've been in various battles where the ship has been hit, and I've been sunk then and there very quickly, because it's either a massive round, which does around 15k damage each, or it's low caliber rounds which have penetrated and blown up something within inside the ship. So that's something that you have to look out for. The second major drawback of the Kuma class is its torpedoes, which unfortunately have mixed bag stats. If we take a look at the torpedo tubes by going to the modules, we see here they are Type 6 module. Maximum damage of almost 11,000, which is very good, especially on a cruiser, which generally has worse stats for torpedoes compared to, well, in fact it has worse stats throughout, so worse stats throughout for torpedoes compared to destroyers. Torpedo range is 7 kilometers, which is, again, reasonably good, but the torpedo speed is where it goes kaput. Of only 57 knots, which is not slow like the, well, not very slow like the Wix class destroyer at Tier 3 for the Americans, which has these torpedoes which only have 48 knots speed, which is very poor, very slow. But 57 is not exactly fantastic, and therefore many ships will just sail on by or evade your evade your torpedoes before they strike the side or where you meant to hit the enemy vessel. Its last drawback, which is not strictly drawback of the Kuma class, but the AAE armaments are, or defensive armaments, are very, very poor, consisting of rifle caliber machine gun mounted at the front here, as well as 25mm cannon mounted at the sides during in the middle. And there we go. There's a roundup of the stats for the Kuma class. Let's take a look at some replays. And this is the first replay that I'm going to show you today. We have the Kuma on a new, well, I say new, apparently it was in the alpha. This map's called New Dawn. It's set in a sort of tropical Pacific region. And it's a standard domination game. I decided to head right because there's readily available cover and I want to help this destroyer. So, as I talked about in the previous part of this video, you can see how the Kuma is quite quick, 31.4 knots even whilst turning, and so we're sailing along quite nicely. And the guns you saw just briefly there, they traverse quite quickly as well. So you're able to re-engage targets if they appear on your port or starboard quite quickly. I see a target, I take a few, well, I think about taking a shot at him, but he is out of range. So I continue along my that is another drawback of the guns there. Range is only around 12 kilometers. So anything over that and you cannot shoot them effectively. I continue into the A point. Hardly any action at the moment. Supported by a destroyer, and I believe a cruiser is coming along as well. If you take a look at the map on the bottom right, see an enemy battleship. Again, way out of range. There's not even any point in me taking a look at that guy. I managed to get a base assist, but it doesn't really mean anything. Any ship could have done that of this class. Obviously battleships are much slower, so I guess it does matter which class. Now, this Cleveland is, I'm going to try and help throughout the game. And he helps me quite a lot in a later snippet of the video. So he takes a shot at this guy, and I see that the Kawachi is coming in, so I take a shot. And the guns have now already reloaded. So I take another battery. Singular shooting this time. And as you saw in these three salvos, how quickly you can put out the damage if you hit anything. Of course, I'm firing HE, and I don't think I realised this until later on in the game. I do see the enemy Fuso in the background there, but again, there's no need to fire at him, although he is probably looking for a shot on me or the Cleveland. As you can see, he's firing at my general location. We still keep shooting this Kawachi, but our shooting isn't really being effective. I have switched to armor piercing though. I keep hitting the front of the ship. I think he's reversing. Me and this Cleveland and destroyer on our right are sailing up. I aim towards the back of the ship in order to try and get a shot on him. Fuso is firing in the background. Again, he's not firing at me, I believe he's firing at the Cleveland, so I am okay. Now, I make a critical error here and I try and turn inside, but the Cleveland doesn't notice this and I crash into him. So I'm very sorry to, I think his name is Zebra, or Zebra? We'll see in a minute. he apologizes, which is very nice, but I believe that was my fault. So you would think, being on quite a wide open map, you would yeah, there he is at zebra. So I typed to him saying it's my fault, which is fine. Nice bit of conversation between players there. Something quite rare in online gaming, as I highlighted in my previous video. How people are quite sour, usually. Anyway, back to the action. We see there are flipping loads of torpedoes in the water over there, but they are friendly. I say friendly, they can still sink you very easily as enemy ones do, but they are nowhere near me, so it's okay. Me and the Cleveland are still, or me and Mr. Zebra are still continuing the attack. The destroyers fled to the left through the smoke, probably to try and get a more advantageous position to use his torpedoes, which is a valid strategy. We see the enemy aircraft carrier, or at least one of them. There are 2 enemy aircraft carriers in this game. And right now you'd be right in thinking, oh, this is quite a lackluster ship. And it is, it's quite mediocre. But it's drawing... it's saving grace, as it were, is the high rate of fire. And reasonable speed. I haven't had a need to use my torpedoes yet because I haven't been in close range to anyone. And I've only taken minimal damage thanks to my poor driving earlier. Now me and Zebra and the Cleveland are trying to fire upon this Fuso, along with some friendly torpedoes, which score a couple of hits, I believe, or at least 1 hit. Now, because I'm driving at this sailing at this angle, I can only fire 2 of my 140 batteries, which is kind of poor. Although I am hitting him broadside for around 1,000 damage per shot, which is what you should expect whilst firing armor piercing. And now the angle is better. I decide because I am turning slightly to the left, and now I can use all, well, not all 7 guns. I can use 6. The one on the left is unable to fire, but you can fire up to a maximum of 6 at a time, which is quite good when you hit the enemy. And as you see at the top right there, the number of hits have now gone up to in the 50s, whereas we were on 24 before, meaning although the damage per shot is very low, you have a high rate of fire, which makes up for it, as I keep mentioning, keep insisting. I see friendly torpedoes and slightly worried about them, but they sink to the bottom of the ocean, so it's okay. I decide to try and use my torpedo spread, and I fire 2 spreads from the right hand side of the ship. I thought the Fuso was going to go more, was going to continue sailing forward, but it seems he has stopped and is aiming at another target, but his secondary batteries are opening up, and now I'm on fire. I immediately use my control countermeasures to get rid of that. I'm trying to hit his critical citadel area, but again, for some reason I've switched to high explosive rounds, probably due to me messing around with the controls when using the torpedoes. I switched back to armor piercing after realizing this mistake, and I keep hitting this guy again and again and again, and now you can see we're up to 90, 95 hits, 93 hits even, which is a large amount, or a substantial amount. Although the damage per shot is not 1,000 every shot, it's roughly that if you hit in the right place. Sometimes you do very little damage, like 53, as you saw there. It's quite poor. This guy is gonna go down, and our friend in the Cleveland takes him out. Now I'm in quite a poor position right now. I'm I take a look at the scoreboard just to see how many of us are left and in which ships. Although I could have easily looked at the top of the screen. It's quite an equal fight at the moment. Anyway, I'm in the top corner of the map, which is quite a poor position because, as you can see in the rest of the map, we have enemies in C, and there are also enemies heading towards B. But sorry guys. Thankfully, the Kuma's ability to turn and sail quite quickly makes up for this. And we're soon turned back around and heading towards sea at a rate of 31 knots. Still accelerating up to 35, I believe. 35.4. 35.6. Keeps going up. I'm not going to keep saying that. That sounds ludicrous. A good solid speed. I believe I see our friend in the Cleveland again. He's heading into sea, and I'm trying to help him out. I say trying to help him out. I am sailing towards him in order to help him out, for he is capturing C. In this time that it's taken me to get back, however, B has been captured by at least one destroyer, and perhaps a battleship or a cruiser. Yes, a cruiser. Unfortunately, we see that C has just been overrun. So I go to B and trying to control the center of the map. We see the cruiser coming towards us, and I've got my target marker over him, 10 kilometers out. He's seen us, and I will begin to engage him soon. I take a look to the right just to see if there's anything coming, but there isn't. The enemies are in the middle and left-hand sides of the map. It's an opposing Kuma, who also has the same strengths and weaknesses as I do. So I begin opening up on him with my frontal batteries, and he begins opening up with all of his batteries because he is broadside to me, and he hits me for a large amount of damage immediately, and then another burst for 2,000 damage. I quickly launch some torpedoes and try to knock him out, but then he hits me critically for 10,000 damage almost. I think it was 993. Sorry, 9,993. And here we can see the problem with the torpedoes are they're quite slow, and the enemy Kuma sails on past, and I sink to the bottom of the ocean. So in that replay we saw a certain number of things. The good speed, the good armament, the poor torpedoes, and the poor armor. I have one more replay to show you. Let's take a look. And welcome to the second replay, guys. Join us on a older map, the fault line map. Yes, fault line map. And we started off from the south, and we're gonna go to the, well, I say south. I assume the south. I can't remember if the map is inverted if you spawn on the other side. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Back to the Kuma. I have taken the right-hand road, and this replay, I'm afraid, is quite short. But I wanted to get a replay where the torpedoes are actually at an effective use. Although I'm not going to sugarcoat this one, guys. My demise is very quick indeed. But anyway, sailing forward at 36 kilometers knots, and we're heading towards sea. We're going to head towards where that destroyer is. That battleship is also heading there, and the Phoenix is going around to the left, with that cruiser to my left slightly. I see smoke has been deployed by our friendly destroyer, so he's obviously in a bit of trouble right there. And you can see on the map to the bottom right, there's a few enemy outlines who've now disappeared. So there's definitely enemy activity there. Using my speed, I try and get to the situation as quick as possible to try and help that guy, but he's already been destroyed. And now there's a load of smoke cover for enemy battleships and cruisers and destroyers and any and all kinds of ship, basically. Another ship has been detected, and it's another cruiser, and we begin opening up with the trademark 140 main batteries, and we score a hit, and we've reloaded, and we score another hit. So we know he's there, and he's returning fire, so we can roughly guess his position. I think he's still sailing to the left, but of course I am wrong, and he's actually sailing slightly to the right. And there he is. I quickly try and get some torpedoes out, as he is in very close proximity. I get hit for all of my health from someone else, and probably a battleship. I launch my torpedoes, and then I explode very, very quickly. But, in the background there, 3 torpedo hits. Oh yeah. Target destroyed. And that's the thing with the Kuma. The torpedoes, you have to close into suicidal range. And now, on the left-hand side, I'm very, very confused at this Chegger_D. I like this mod aiming so much easier. I don't think Wargaming allowed mods in the closed beta. So, if anyone from Wargaming wants to watch this, perhaps you should deal with this one. And there you have it, guys. That was the Kuma Tier 4 Japanese cruiser, and an overview of its strengths and weaknesses, and my personal opinion of the ship. I've been Geogen, this has been World of Warships. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.